Atlantis: The Lost Empire. This was Disney's attempt to try and be a little bit more adult in that they're trying to make an action film where people die and big explosions happen and all that cool stuff to try to get back with the hip audience again. And boy, did it backfire. Not only did the film do incredibly poorly at the box office, but critics really ripped it a new one. I mean, it seemed like nobody liked this movie at all. Were the criticisms right? Well, yeah, but I don't know. I think there's some good stuff in it. Kinda, sorta. Alright, let's look at the story. Michael J. Fox is Milo, a janitor at a museum. But it turns out he has a journal that could possibly lead to the lost civilization of Atlantis, which of course, nobody believes him on. That is except for one man who used to be a friend of his family. It turns out he believes Milo and has been spending years and years putting together a team and equipment to go down and actually find it. Of course they come across trouble, obstacles, and all sorts of bad things trying to get in the way until they finally find the city, and the lost people. They come across the Emperor and his daughter named Kita, and they try to figure out the ways of the culture and civilization, as it turns out the culture and civilization themselves have forgotten it. That's sort of an interesting idea. Okay, so it sort of sounds like 20,000 Leagues meets Indiana Jones meets, well, Disney. There is a lot of action, there is a lot of adventure, but at the same time, yeah, you do have to mix it with Disney, don't you? And if you're trying to get more of an adult crowd, that's probably not the best thing to do. Like, listen to this line and tell me if you think this is more Indiana Jones or Disney.
Alright, this is it! We're gonna rescue the princess, we're gonna save Atlantis, or we're gonna die trying! Now let's do it!
Yeah, I'd say Disney too. On top of that, guess who the villain is? That's right, some asshole who just wants money. Oh, for God's sake, you're looking for a lost civilization. You're gonna be rich either way. But no, they want to destroy the people and just take the artifact so it's worth even more money. Oh, give me a break. I am so sick of these guys. But what does work about the movie? Well, the culture is pretty cool, the people are pretty cool, the sort of magical elements are pretty cool. And on top of that, I really like the side characters. They're all very unique, very funny, they all stand out, and they have some really good lines.
We've done a lot of things we're not proud of. Robbing graves, plundering the tombs, double parking. But nobody got hurt. Well, maybe somebody got hurt, but nobody we knew.
I'd be lying if I said the problems I listed before didn't get in the way, and yeah, on the whole, is it a good movie? Probably not, but I think this is sort of for me what Moulin Rouge is for a lot of other people. A guilty pleasure. The stuff that's good, I think is really good and really holds up. Is it corny at times? Oh yeah. Is it really stupid? Pfft, you have no idea. But look at this scene! In my opinion, there's more here to make it just a style over substance. I mean, the culture is pretty interesting, the people are pretty interesting, the designs are pretty interesting, and like I said, I do like a lot of these characters. In fact, it's one of the few times you have a Disney couple that doesn't get married. Heck, they don't even kiss, they just give a hug. Dude, that's rare. But the problems are major ones, and they can be very, very distracting, and can ruin the film for a lot of people. It didn't for me. Okay, it came close, but the stuff that's good, I really enjoy. I'm sure it has its fans, I'm sure it has its haters. You can just put me in the fan category. I really liked it, despite its annoyances. It's not perfect, but I had a lot of fun watching it. Every once in a while you come across that movie that's supposed to be one thing, but it does one element so well that it actually almost works against it. Lilo and Stitch is one of those movies. The story is very basic. An alien experiment from another galaxy escapes his captivity, makes his way to Earth, and befriends a little girl named Lilo. The other aliens try to get him back while they also learn the meaning of family, blah 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 blah. You can guess it very quickly. I remember when I saw the trailers for this movie and I was thinking to myself, I sort of already know this story. It's kind of E.T.-ish, meets hiding a pet, meets family bonding. Yeah, I know it. So I basically avoided it. But much like The Emperor's New Groove, everybody was telling me to see it. So I finally went, rented it, sat down and watched it. And here's what stuck out to me. The stuff with the little girl is unbelievable. This is probably one of the best kid characters of all time. And for Disney to accomplish that, that's really something. Their kid characters have ranged from okay to incredibly annoying and incredibly bland. But this character, she's weird, she's violent, she's bizarre, she's emotional, she's kooky, she's totally out of control. Hey, guess what? Those are kids! It just so happens she's even more stranger than the rest of the crowd, so that makes her even more interesting. God, Disney finally got this right! But it doesn't just stop there. Oh, what? Is there an evil mother or an evil step something or other that doesn't understand her or something? No, it's actually a very believable situation. Lilo has to live with her older sister because the parents sadly passed away. But the older sister has trouble looking out for her because she's constantly in between jobs, has to look after a kid that's already a handful, and on top of that, she's her older sister, not her parent. So this is new territory for both of them, and it's hard for them to both get used to it. There's a man from an agency who's constantly watching them, making sure that Lilo's sister is a good parent. But even then, he's not the bad guy, he's just doing his job. And at times, he sees the tragedy of the situation too. And that's what this is, a tragedy. It's just a really bad turn of events that creates a really bad situation. It doesn't need a bad guy, it doesn't need a greedy villain, it's just life. It's the first time I thought Disney really got that, and they really captured it. And for me, this is bringing their animated features to a whole new level. But sadly, the film is not entirely about that. It's also about the alien. And that stuff is just okay. It's not bad, it's not great, it's just decent. The alien's cute, I guess. They have to sort of train him like a dog, and of course he learns the meaning of family just as they learn the meaning of family. I know it, I know it. It gets a few laughs, and the friendship between the two of them is relatively strong. It's just, oh man, I wish the movie was just about the sister and Lilo. And when you constantly had to be pulled back to the sci-fi alien chase, it sort of disappoints you. Well, me, I should say. But like I said, it's not bad, it just turns out they did one element way too well. But to be fair, that's better than having the whole film just be mediocre. And much like Tarzan, I shouldn't analyze what I want it to be as much as what it is. And for what it is really good. The animation is great. Like I said, these two characters are great. The aliens, they're okay. I mean, I guess you do sort of grow to like Stitch, and some of the side characters get a few giggles. The backgrounds actually return to watercolor backgrounds. That's really rare for Disney. It was sort of a nice comeback. It was also nice that it took place in Hawaii, again, trying to get sort of a different location. So on the whole, it is a good movie. There's just some parts that are so much better than others, and I really would have liked to have seen that explored a little bit more. But it's still a good flick, and the stuff that stands out is really fantastic. The aliens are okay, but the sisters are more than worth the price of admission. Treasure Planet. Just saying that name sounds kind of silly. And I'm not gonna lie, that's sort of the major issue I have with this movie. It's Treasure Island, only we're not telling it like most people tell Treasure Island, we're telling it in space. In the future. But the spaceships aren't really spaceships, they're water ships. But the people are dressed futuristically, at least some of them, the ones not wearing bonnets and... Okay, let's start from the beginning. A young Jim Hawkins hears about the legend of buried treasure. Only, like we said before, it's not at Treasure Island, it's on Treasure Planet. Years go by and Jim Hawkins, it turns out, is now a delinquent, always getting in trouble and feeling bad that his father left. Wow, is that really in a Disney film? No car accident, no tragic death, he actually just up and left. Wow, that's actually pretty rare. Well, anyway, his mother has a hard enough time trying to raise him while also trying to look after a restaurant. But all that changes when he comes across a treasure map, or treasure sphere, whatever, that apparently shows them the location of Treasure Planet. He comes across one of his mother's friends called Dr. Doppler, and he recommends that they find a ship and go looking for the treasure. The mother kind of bizarrely agrees, and thus Jim and Doppler are off on adventure. The captain this time around is a cat lady. No, I don't mean she likes cats, I mean literally she's half cat, half lady. Played by Emma Thompson. The cook is John Silver, played by Brian Murray. And he also comes across a few other little friends, like this little glob of goo named Morph, a robot voiced by Martin Short, and all sorts of other weird oddities. Okay, so what's good about the movie? Because actually there are a lot of good things about it. First of all, it gets down what I think really any Disney film should get down first, the relationships with the characters. For example, the relationship between Hawkins and his mother is great. The relationship between him and John Silver is great. The relationship between Doppler and the Captain is great. And to the film's credit, the reason the relationships are so great is because, well, the characters are pretty darn good too. Hawkins is sort of your generic rebellious hero, but at the same time, they do leave it open for people to leave impressions on him. He will absorb what people are telling him, and that's a good trait for a character. The Captain is a lot of fun. She's very dignified, very intelligent, but she's also a fast talker and likes to show off. Doppler at times can get annoying, and yeah, I'm not a fan of the Martin Short robot, but he's not in it for that long. John Silver is great, as the character should be, both being diabolical but also having a soft side for Hawkins. So, okay, it seems to follow the book pretty well, the characters are strong. What's actually wrong with this film? This seems like the most important stuff. Well, as I said before, it's the setting. Why is this set in the future? Okay, let me put it this way. You can set it in the future, that's fine, but go all out. If you want to show us spaceships, show us spaceships, some cool looking ones. When you just have giant boats in space, that's all we're gonna see. You have futuristic parasailing in the sky, but then you also have people in 19th century dress. Honestly, it's just distracting. Sometimes it really works, like all the mechanics on John Silver. Instead of just having a fake leg, he has a fake arm, a fake eye, and all of it's technologically advanced. That's pretty cool. I just wish the rest of the movie went that far. Instead of trying to create this world that they just wanted to create on its own, they kept trying to combine it with what was popular, what was advanced, and then what was also sort of true of the time period the book was written. And that just sort of turns out a cluttered mess. And I don't think it's a pet peeve because it's constantly distracting. I'm always asking, how do these two things go together? These are two totally different time periods that really have almost nothing to do with one another. You can borrow some things, but this is really weird. On top of that, the same way that something like Oliver and Company felt very manipulative, you know, like half the visuals was something a marketing agent came up with, yeah, you feel that throughout the entire movie. I mean, it opens with sky surfing. All I could think of was that opening in the Power Rangers movie where they go sky surfing too. It's like, really? Look, you can relate with Jim Hawkins. He's doing cool stuff. Ooh! He wears a short black jacket. He has a cool haircut. He's got a ponytail. Rad! He goes to his mother who looks like something out of Moby Dick. Wait, what? So yeah, I wasn't on board with the idea. I constantly felt like I was being manipulated. And really, I wanted to see Disney do Treasure Island. No gimmicks, no whatever's cool at the time. Just tell Treasure Island. So, I guess my final sum up is, when they do tell Treasure Island, it's good. And when they try to do something cool and hip, it's lame. Sometimes the sci-fi designs are neat, but mostly it's just distracting. I don't know, if you can look at these visuals and they don't bother you, in fact you actually find yourself getting into it, you'll probably like this movie fine. For me, it just constantly took me out of it. And I would have liked to have seen the original source material really come to life as told by Disney. But it's not horrible, it's not even really that bad. I could just never get into it as much as the movie wants me to get into it. Hopefully you can draw your own conclusions and you can see if this movie is worth your time.